Hi, my name is Katie Maxey, and I'm a registered dietitian with Brenner FIT. I'm commonly asked questions about desserts and how to handle desserts for your family, so I want to talk a little bit about desserts. Number one thing when it comes to desserts is to make sure you actually do have them. We don't want to restrict our kids and have forbidden foods that they're not allowed to have. When we do that, that takes that food and makes it more of a priority for them. So once they do get that forbidden food, they're going to not pay attention to hunger and fullness, and they're going to eat a lot of that food. So we want to make sure that desserts are allowed in our home and outside of our home. As a parent, you just have to figure out how often to offer these desserts. And that's kind of up to your judgment. Some families do a couple of times a week, some do only maybe once or twice a week. That's really up to you and your family how you want to do that. When you do offer desserts, you want to make sure that everybody is allowed that dessert. You don't have to work your way to the dessert. So, for example, you don't have to eat so many pieces of broccoli to be able to get the dessert. When you do offer the dessert, because that's up to you, it's just a free reign. Like, everybody gets to have the dessert no matter what they did with their dinner. You can actually limit dessert so that if they don't eat much of their dinner and they want dessert, they still get a child-sized portion and adults get an adult-sized portion. So that still is up to you. It's not like they can continue eating a piece of dessert and more dessert and more dessert. You can kind of limit the desserts. You just can't make it to where they have to eat something to get a dessert. That's kind of Brenner FIT's recommendation. Another point I want to make about desserts is to make sure that they're not all red zone foods. And when I say red zone, that means high calorie, high fat foods. Those forbidden foods that we think about. Cookies, brownies, cakes. You can absolutely still do these things for desserts. But retrain your brain a little bit to think of desserts in a different way. And an example I want to show you today is a banana split. And instead of using ice cream, we're actually going to use a low-fat pudding. And so thinking of desserts in that way, it could be fruit kebabs, it could be this banana split, it could be using fruits and other foods instead of always thinking of the high-calorie dessert-type foods that you're probably thinking of right now. So let's look at this example of the banana split. Here's our banana. All we have to do is, it's exactly how you would make a banana split. You can kind of cut it in half and open it up in your bowl. And this is something great that the kids can actually kind of do with you. And they can use a butter knife like I'm using, so all kids can help you with this. And then instead of ice cream, we're just going to use a pudding. We're using a vanilla pudding for this one. And then they can top it with whatever they want. So let's say they want to add some nuts. These are sliced almonds. And then maybe even some dried fruit. We have some craisins here. You could do any dried fruit. You could do raisins. You could do dried mango or dried banana even. And then to make it feel like a dessert even more, you can take some chocolate syrup and drizzle the chocolate syrup. You can make this pretty. You can decorate the bowl. Kids can have a lot of fun with this. And last but not least, it wouldn't be a banana split without some sprinkles. So that's a great way to have dessert, but thinking of it in a more low-calorie, low-fat way. It doesn't always have to be the high-calorie dessert foods that you're thinking.